Okay, hi. Here is your second installment of our subject-verb agreement assignments. Today we're going to talk about subject-verb agreement with linking verbs. Just a reminder, your linking verb is your to-be verbs like am, is, are, was, were, be, been, being. But then your linking verbs can also be those kind of ambiguous verbs like grow. If it's an action, like the farmer grows corn, then that's an action verb. But if it's the corn grows tall, the corn isn't actively doing that action, therefore grows becomes a linking verb, right? You could replace the word is. The corn is tall. Makes the same thing, makes sense, right? So those are your linking verbs. And the problem is with linking verbs, sometimes it's really hard to identify the subject. We're looking in the wrong part of the sentence. So this first sentence here, we have the first act was or were jugglers with flaming batons. We might think that jugglers is the subject, but it isn't. It's the act that is the subject. So we're going to want to highlight that. And then act was, and we'll highlight that. So that's how we do it. Then we move on to the next one. Show tickets was or were the first prize in the essay contest. Again, in this case, what is the first prize? The tickets. So tickets is your subject. And then were, because that's plural, so we want were as our verb. Tickets were the first prize. All right, and then we get to this third one. This third one's got lots of complicated issues. So one problem of the circus clowns were unexpected attacks from other clowns. So our first thought is, oh, is it clowns? That is the subject. But we know it's not clowns because we remember last week. And last week we talked about those intervening prepositional phrases. So we want to get rid of that part, right? We scratch that part out. So then what can we do? Well, is it unexpected attacks or is it the problem? Well, it's the problem. So problem is our subject, and that problem was unexpected attacks. So we highlight that. And then lastly, we've got traffic jams in the parking lot were one difficulty for circus attendees. We don't even have an option there, do we? So were is our verb, and then jams in this case. So if you notice with these linking verbs, where is our subject? Well, our subject in this case is at the beginning of the sentence. So that's often a way to look for your subject until we get to the second part. So our second assignment is all about this agreement in inverted sentences. I like to think of inverted sentences as Yoda speak. So think your little baby Yoda is talking to you, and he doesn't talk yet. But what happens when we watch Star Wars? Well, Yoda speaks in these sort of inverted sentences. So even though we don't talk that way, we can recognize that there's this inversion that might happen. So let's take a peek at this first sentence. In the cave, sleep or sleeps the bear. Well, the second that you hear it and you go, gosh, that sounds weird, you want to think, okay, this must be an inverted sentence. The second thing to think about is, let's take a peek at the verbs. The verb is sleeping, right? Either sleep or sleeps. Is it a bear that sleeps or is it a cave that sleeps? Well, it's a bear, right? So we know bear is our subject because that's what can do sleeping. And so the bear sleeps in the cave. And so there we go. Then we highlight that verb. Questions are another way that the verb gets sort of inverted. So in this case, we have, does that dolphin recognize hand signals? The first thing you want to do is you want to sort of answer that question with the words that are present. And so you say, that dolphin does recognize hand signals. When you do that in your head, then you recognize dolphin is your subject. So you highlight that. And then does recognize is our verb phrase. So we highlight that. And now we have the right combo. And then last but not least is sentences that begin with here or there. Ultimately, you just have to know that here and there are never subjects. And so if we know in this third sentence that goes is the verb, then our only option would be trainer would be our subject. And so then we can check ourselves. The trainer goes there. Yep, that makes sense. How about this one? We've got here, so we know that's not going to be it. So what else is the noun? Well, father is the noun, so there's my subject, and then is my verb. Here is my father. And that's how we do it. So let's take a peek at our first assignment. So the first assignment is that agreement with linking verbs. So the am, is, are, was, were, be, been, being, and becomes, and looks. So here we go. Crashing cymbals, become or becomes the climax of the musical composition. We know that cymbals is going to be our subject, and those cymbals become the climax. Okay, so we just do highlight the subject again and the verb, just like we did last time. And then for our second assignment, we've got ourselves, the first one is a question. Okay, so what do we do when we have a question? Well, we put it into a statement. So the players must be the subject, do warm up, and now we're good. So that's how you're going to do your assignments for this week as far as your grammar is concerned. Take a look at the agenda to see what else we have. We're working on our paper this week and our subject-verb agreement assignments. Good luck. Be sure to email me if you have any questions.